1933, Hitler was named Chancellor to the state of Germany. This is when Hitler's ideology of anti-Semitism arose. A certain story that stood out was the story of Elie Wiesel.
Elie Wiesel was stripped away from his family at the age of 15 and was transferred to a concentration camp where one of his sisters and mothers were killed. He stuck close to his father until he was later killed. Elie Wiesel, the author of 57 books, is known for receiving the Nobel Prize, Presidential Medal of Freedom, and many more. Which book are you proud of most?
Well, it's actually the memoir Night that I wrote about my experiences throughout my time in the concentration camps. I wanted to make my story known for everyone that was not able to experience the struggles many of us had during this time.
You could say that your struggles are the reason you wanted to make your story known. What does it take to be normal after having your humanity taken away by the Nazis?
What even is normal? Normal is being able to have a life and not having the fear of dying each day. Normal is being able to have food every day. Normal is not being afraid of walking down the street.
What made you not give up when you were put in these situations?
I tried to survive for the sake of my family and to keep my father alive. I wanted to fulfill my desire of being free.
At the release of your memoir, did it affect your mental state that no one was willing to listen about your time in the concentration camps?
In all honesty, it's not surprising that people weren't willing to listen to the struggles of my time in concentration camps because people didn't want to hear the bad experiences.
To reach on spiritual aspect, did the loss of your family create a disbelief in your God?
The struggles of my losses influenced my beliefs in God because it constantly made me think, why is this happening to me?
How did you come back into contact with your sisters?
I was reunited with both my sisters, Hilda and Beatrice, in an orphanage in France.
A few years after your release, it was translated from Yiddish to English. What led to your decision in translating the book?
My wife, Elie Wiesel, was the one who had the idea of translating the book from Yiddish to English because she wanted to allow others to know my story.
Elie Wiesel is an activist and Holocaust survivor. She helped Elie translate his Nobel Peace Prize work and co-founded the Elie Wiesel Foundation for Humanity. The couple became fluent in 5 languages to translate the memoir. Marion has a daughter herself and gave birth to a son with Elie.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
What was your experience during the Holocaust?
My family hired a guide to illegally escape to Belgium. Once we arrived there, we were placed in an internment camp. My mother had sold her jewelry to get us to Switzerland, where we stayed until 1947.
You were able to escape from the concentration camps. What was it like starting a new life?
It was a rough and difficult time because of all the horrible memories. In my household, we had all the basic needs, which made it easier for survival, but many were left starving. With time and hard work, the pain became less, but speaking about my time in the concentration camps was not easy for me.
Another question for Elie. How did it feel like when no one was willing to make a change?
Oh my, if I only knew what to say. It was a horrible time for the only thought that crossed your mind was if someone was coming to rescue you or not. Many things were happening, so it was difficult to adapt when almost every place was not permanent.
The real question is, why weren't people willing to make a change?
Because most people were afraid. They were afraid to commit. Commitment implies a lot of things. First of all, a waste of time. It's as simple as that. Because if one commits to himself today, it only means that he will commit himself tomorrow. Most people would rather remain apathetic.
In your book, you mentioned that Auschwitz ignores all explanation. How can we overcome something we don't understand?
It really depends. All the questions I had, I still have them to this day. They'll forever remain in my head, and I will never understand anything that was done during this time. Although it's a harsh reality, I will still care for my fellow men, no matter the case.
In your opinion, do you think it is essential to forgive what was done?
For me, it is not an issue that interests me. I don't have the power to forgive. At the most, I could forgive something that was done to me, but not to a whole people. I'm not someone that is allowed to make that decision. This time period is very difficult for everyone, and forgiveness is something many of us couldn't allow.
Why do you think people wouldn't allow forgiveness?
People will never understand why this was done. What type of humanity would allow for such a tragedy? People who had PhDs and doctoral degrees were involved in this time, and it still amazes me that people would allow for this to ever happen. The Holocaust was a part of history that will forever shock the people of today's world.
What message would you like to leave with the people here? What would you like to remember about you and your experiences?
There will never be a specific message that I want people to understand. I just want others to be grateful for the times that they share with their families because we weren't allowed to experience that during this genocide. These experiences weren't just a change for me. It was a change for millions of innocent people, and that is why it is important to understand this time.
One final question from an anonymous audience member. What was it like seeing other families going through the same as you? Did this have any impact on your thoughts during this time?
This is an excellent question, actually. Seeing other families going through similar experiences had a huge impact on what I truly believed during this time, because it made me realize that I wasn't alone. This allowed for a change in my faith, and it shaped me into the person I am today.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come and speak to us. It was an honor to hear about your life experiences and what shaped you into the person you are today.
It was my pleasure. My experiences were something I was afraid to share with the world from the beginning. People like you are what make a true difference in this world. Thank you so much.
The memoir Night isn't just a story about a boy and his family. His humanity shines from every page as he bears witness to the tragedy which befell the Jewish race at the hands of the Nazis. Wiesel spent countless hours on a story that was later developed into a life-changing memoir.